Lots of worries were in the Arsenal camp by the time Mikel Arteta addressed the presser of Arsenal versus Bournemouth. But it looks like lots of things have gone ahead to happen, and lots of positivities are really happening in between that side of Arsenal and the players that have been really injured. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. This is the Arsenal News Show. I'm here to take you through the brief of Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, William Saliba, who else? And very many other players as far as this beautiful game of football is concerned, that Arsenal is going to play against Bournemouth, and they've gone ahead to travel late tonight, and they've gone ahead to travel to the side of Bournemouth. And good news is that there are some notables that have gone ahead to travel for that game of football. Tomiyasu is one of those that Arteta is going to talk about, and his brilliant performance and display against Brentford in the Carabao Cup third round tie. That's how Arsenal win it by 1-0. And lastly, we're going to discuss how Arteta is going to have to tackle a question on whether the Arsenal injuries that are really happening right now have gone ahead to affect him ahead of the Man City match. Now, smash the like button close 10 times, and not forget to really tell us know, to let us know where you're watching us from. Now, we started off with Arteta on the fitness of Declan Rice, Martinelli, Trossard, and Bukayo Saka. He has told us that Rice wasn't available and had to leave the London derby. He hasn't trained yet. We have another season. We have another session in an hour or two, so we shall have more news about that. Then he added and said, Gabriel Martinelli hasn't trained and we want him back. We need him back, but at the moment, he's not been available. Trossard, same situation. Bukayo Saka, same situation. Then, on Saliba, he said they are all in the same pool. William Saliba as well had a knock. Fabio Vieira as well wasn't involved in the last game. So we have to assess them today, see how they are and adapt to the situation, because that's a big number. And on whether they'll play tomorrow, Arteta first said they are not fit enough to be in the squad of the game concerning Brentford. Let's see how everybody is today. Obviously, they were not selected for the reason, and we need to assess them again. That's what Mikel Arteta is going to hate to say. Now, as we all listen to Mikel Arteta tonight, right now, a story has just broken from the guy known as Tommy Gunn, Arsenal thread. He's just close so much to Arsenal, and he's going to hate to confirm to us that Bukayo Saka is in Bournemouth with Arsenal squad. William Saliba and Declan Rice have also reportedly traveled. Now, that is the huge news that any Arsenal fan will obviously want to hear, that Arsenal have gone ahead to find themselves in a position of really seeing three players back: Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, and Declan Rice into this squad. We don't know about Fabio Vieira, and I think if Declan Rice is back, Bukayo Saka is back, and William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, and Declan Rice, that is really great for Arsenal. Huge return coming in from that side of Arsenal, and I think you guys are really enjoying this, because at the end of it all, it's going to be only these players to obviously see to it that they really let Arsenal to the next level. I know there are doubts that should Arsenal go ahead and obviously hurry or rush these players back, Arteta can't even choose not to play these players and obviously have them on the bench, and it will depend on the match situation. When you look at Arsenal, they can have Gabriel Magalhaes playing that central defense with Tomiyasu, because for the lion's share of the game of Brentford, they really played together. You know that very well. They really played together. So it's really one of the most important things to note about this game, that you might see Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, and William Saliba on the bench, because if you hurry them back, you're having 2 games ahead of you. That of Rennes doesn't matter, because it's one of the teams that Arsenal is going to really beat to pulps. But the match of Man City, should you rush them in the game of Bournemouth, or you really play them in the game of Rennes and then prepare them for the game of Man City? That is the biggest question that Arteta has to answer as far as all that Arsenal side is really concerned. You know, management is all about making tough decisions, right? So he knows that Declan Rice is back with a back injury. Do you start him, or you let Jorginho start into that game of Bournemouth and see whether he thrives in very well and gets Declan Rice some 20-30 minutes to play? depending on the game situation. Or if at all he plays very well, or if at all Arsenal really kills off this game on an instant, should they obviously keep it up like that or let it go? Those are the huge questions that you need to know about this side of Arsenal. So the other conundrum at Arsenal is about William Saliba. For that, I cannot even risk him. It's better to obviously play Tomiyasu and Gabriel Magalhaes. That's okay. Then the other situation is that of Bukayo Saka. I think Saka is going to start. For Bukayo Saka, he knows going to start. Do you know why? Arteta rested him for a full week. He hasn't kicked a ball ever since they drew with Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates. So Saka is going to play. I'm 100% sure Saka is obviously going to come in through and obviously play a very big part into this beautiful game of football that Arsenal is going to play in Bournemouth. So happy news for Arsenal. You have every reason to jubilate the return of Saka, Bukayo, Saliba, and Declan Rice. And even Fabio Vieira, I'm not going to be shocked if at all Fabio Vieira really makes it to Bournemouth, because he never played. He played just 45 minutes in the game of Spurs. And were we lied to that they just took him off because of the performances, or the man was obviously injured? That's another question that needs to be addressed as soon as possible, because when it comes to where we want to be, when it comes to where Arteta wants to be, he just needs all his players fit. Meaning that out of the 6 players that Arsenal had injured, Julian Timber, Declan Rice, Saliba, Martinelli, Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice, 3 of those are back, and the sick bay of Arsenal now has 3 players: Martinelli, Julian Timber, and Thomas Partey, of which Thomas Partey and Martinelli might be available for the game of Man City if all goes well as planned from the physio team of Arsenal. Then have something to say. He had something to say about Tomiyasu and how everything is really going on at Arsenal. He said, "I always said it. I'm really confident. The moment Tommy has some consistency, he's going to be a tremendous asset for us. He can play in any position and formation in the back line, and we don't have a player like him. Now, he needs to run of games." I think if he says they don't have a player like him, it's like not giving Julian Timber his flowers. I think Julian Timber is the most versatile player that Arsenal really have, especially when it comes to the central defense. He can play as a right back, he can play as a left back, he can play as a left-sided centre back, he can play as a right-sided centre back. That is Julian Timber. But as per now, he's the only player available that can play in every formation in the back line of Arsenal. That is Tomiyasu. And on Wednesday, he showcased this out to the traveling fans of Arsenal in Brentford. He had a very brilliant game, and he really closed down that attack of Wissa and Mbeumo very well, to an extent that they couldn't even come close to the side of Arsenal. So it shows you exactly that this man is really having a lot in him, and we wait to see how everything is going to pan out from that Tomiyasu scenario. And I wouldn't rush Saliba to be back. I wouldn't rush him back. Get Tomiyasu in, play 70 minutes, play Saliba for some 20, and prepare him for the game of Rennes. That is it. Even in the game of Rennes, I would have gone ahead to start to start Tomiyasu. Then after Tomiyasu, Saliba comes in through, plays some 30 minutes. And for the game of Man City, I start William Saliba. That's what would have been my plan if at all I was Mikel Arteta, because you need to really manage the minutes these players really play. And for those players that are going to play the national break, they need to obviously be managed very well, because of the fatigue, they might find themselves really injured during the international break. Is it? It's really possible. So Arteta needs to obviously take concern on the players going to hit return and the way he introduces them. But I've known it from a very well-informed point of view that if a player has not been out for long, it's not bad to start him, because his body is still into that motion of playing 90 minutes and very many more minutes. But if at all a player has been out, like Thomas Partey, you don't rush him back immediately. Like when Julian Timber returns, you expect him to first play 20 minutes, 30, then he goes to 45, then 60, then he gets back to full fitness. So that is it all about Arsenal and everything that really happened down at that side of the press conference. And the good news is that players of Arsenal have gone ahead to travel, and Arteta is obviously very excited with the return of these players who have made a return. And I think they trained with Arsenal, an assessment was made, and they passed the assessment. Now, Arteta on if injuries impact his thinking for the game of Man City. He said it's about Bournemouth, and this is the most important game that we have now in the season. That is it. So I understand when he says that this is the most important game they have in the season, but it impacts the game of Man City a lot, because for those returnees from injury, Bukayo Saka, Rice, and Saliba, and Fabio Vieira, they need to obviously get to where they want to be. And they need to really find themselves fit, for the game of Man City, because these two games should be used to obviously put these players in shape. That is the game of the game of Bournemouth and the game of Rennes away in France. That is it. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Tell me your thoughts about Saliba, Saka, and Rice back for Bournemouth game. I welcome in the comment section below. What do you think about Tomiyasu? Do you start him? Ahead of William Saliba? All that and more into the comment section below. For Declan Rice, do you start Declan Rice ahead of Jorginho, or you start Jorginho ahead of Declan Rice according to the opponents that Arsenal are going to face? Then Bukayo Saka, do you start Reece Nelson ahead of him? Yes or no? Rokani David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living to God bless you abundantly, and the Muslims barakallahu fikum. This is the Rokani Media Football. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. I'm out.